Okay, everyone. So, before I start this, I'm not going to name the two perpetrators of the recent mass shootings, nor am I actually going to go into a rant involving the actual core concept of their political beliefs. Those are out there. You can search for them for yourselves, but I'm not going to give the two cuntwads the benefit of the light of day and the benefit of the airtime. I'm going to separate these barely conscious pond scum from the rest of the murky water, as it were, and focus instead on politicians, both on the left and the right, and their seeming inability to let a tragedy be a tragedy for even a day before they start essentially stringing the bodies up and start stepping on their heads as a way to further their political point of views and try to get things done outside entirely of whether or not the people actually want it done. And it just irritates the piss out of me and just drives me absolutely insane to an extent that I can't even display in measurable words. It's like getting a fucking nail driven under your fingernail every single time one of these unbelievably vacuous-minded, completely separated from the real world individuals step up in their soapboxes and preach down to what they consider to be merely peasants, as if they were kings or queens, sometimes even amalgamations thereof, of the proletariat, or not the proletariat, excuse me, of the peasantry, and they speak down to us, looking down past their noses at these small individuals, and they think that they know what's best for us, that they can drive us in one way or the other. And why do people give into this? Why do people give into this kind of bullshit all the time whenever you're Bernie Sanders, your Mitchells, your Swalwells, your gun grabbers of any form, nature, Trump included? Why do people give into this? Why? Well, the answer is rather simple. Rather than people actually take responsibility for the things that happen, and rather being like, hey, maybe these people's actions, especially when it's revolved around kids being, especially teenagers in the impressionable years, maybe instead of these kids' actions, and instead of those being a symptom of a grander scheme of amalgamations of steel and plastic speaking to them in the night and telling them to do these things, or video games teaching them that murder is good and blood will solve all of your problems. Maybe it's us. I don't mean us in a colloquial sense as in literally every single human being on the fucking planet. No, I mean, while it may be difficult to accept, the people that commit these acts have been pushed to doing so by some form of impressionable force. That being said, that impressionable force, people constantly point to either a firearm or a video game, or video games as a genre, or a video game genre, excuse me, and what that does is it pushes the responsibility away from the people, away from the things that have the most amount of an effect on an individual. It's fucking us. It's the parents. We raise these fucking shitwads. These unbelievable, disgusting human beings, these despicable examples of humankind and what the capabilities of evil therein. Now, is that to say that good parenting and proper parenting, which even in of itself is an ambiguous term, but is that to say that that is the keynote to solving all of the world's problems? Fucking hell no. But you know what else isn't a solution? Pointing the finger at everything else besides what the fucking finger should be pointed at. And another thing that is an issue with this is when these fucking assholes pull this shit off and they get an just astronomical amount of fame out of it, maybe that has something to do with it too. Like, immediately the fucking media swarms onto this shit. And I'm not even going to get into the I'm not even going to touch on the theory that this happened specifically in lieu of the fucking Epstein case, which is about to reveal a whole shitload of fucking pedophilia shit that was going on in higher forms of government. It just seems, it's fishy, but I have no way of fucking proving it. So I'm going to push that aside and continue on the rant that I had gone down originally. the thing that happens when you push responsibility away from the individual and you push it onto outlying forces, you're essentially telling that individual that no matter what you do, your actions are not your own. No, your actions are your fucking own, you piece of fucking garbage. Don't convince yourself otherwise. What you did is what you did. You pulled the trigger. You made the choice. You preemptively made the decision to do this, planned it out, and executed the fucking action. Do not place the idea of sovereignty from the actions that these people have done, and place that instead onto things that have no control on how people fucking perceive them. Now, people that have been around long enough are well aware of both the left and the right constantly blaming video games for shit that goes on. And it's a recurring thing that many people in my age group, and some younger and even older than I am, can attest to. It's lazy argumentation. It's placing blame where it doesn't belong. It's taking agency away from people that do things and placing it on things that are incapable of having agency because they're mediums of art, or it's a fucking tool, one way or the other. And don't get me wrong, I'm not just talking about video games and this being stupid in regards to video games. I'm also talking about firearms as well. It's a fucking tool. And I also find it incredibly hilarious that the politicians that are the loudest about gun control are the ones that come from a party that consistently has been running cities that have an just astronomical gun violence crime, but it's not always, but it's largely committed by illegally owned handguns and gang violence. So, with that being said, we have a consistent fucking repetition of what goes on after every single one of these tragedies. You have a bunch of fucking turbo-tards sitting around a table, pointing fingers, drooling all over it at the same time, trying to figure out who's to blame, what's to blame, and what to point the finger at, when the answer is so goddamn obvious, a third grader could tell you. It's like putting up on the board 2 + 2, and you got a bunch of fucking snakes in suits telling you that the answer is 8. The answer is right in front of your fucking faces. You just don't want to admit it because that would rely on the fact that maybe you weren't right. Maybe you were wrong. No, but instead, let's continue to expand laws that have been proven not to work, have been proven to actually embolden people to do these kinds of things. Let's keep doing that, because that's worked so fucking well so far. God fucking damn it, you fucking people are dumb. Anyway, ran over. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and or night, and I'll see you cunts in a little while with a proper video, I hope.